I hate the news. If you want to be miserable and see only the worst that humanity has to offer, make sure you stay in close contact with the news.
Good evening, I'm Ken Bastida. Dana is off tonight. He was murdered and then set on fire while celebrating his birthday.
But I've already covered that before. In this video, I'm going to talk about an irritating trend I've noticed that relates to how the news represents and interprets YouTube and YouTubers. So strap on your seatbelts and claim that it's fake, because this is why I hate YouTube in the news. I really cannot emphasize how much I dislike the news on the whole. Sure, it's important to stay up to date with what's going on, up to a point, but let's be real. The majority of what is showcased is sensationalized gossip. You know, what really sparked this idea for me was seeing the endless headlines about some knobhead prankster YouTuber who was running around London throwing water on people at the same time acid attacks were, and remain, a real threat in the city. Wow, really funny, man. Ha, I'm giggling. You deserve every ounce of backlash you got for that one. So all this made me ask the question, how is YouTube actually represented in the news? Because the impression I get is that if you don't fully understand what YouTube is, and the only information you ever get is from headlines, then YouTube must seem like an embarrassing farce. I know this may lead you to say, well, it's really no different to any other media formats. Most news is negatively focused because it's what gets the most viewers and attention. And I do realize that is the case. I should know. However, other media platforms and careers have already proven themselves through the sheer amount of time they've existed. When there are news stories about Hollywood actors being predators or whatever new twattish thing Chris Brown has done, at the end of the day, people know that that doesn't inherently make the entire industry of acting or music a total joke. Everyone knows and understands what movies, music, comedy, sports, and countless other careers are comprised of and represent. It's all been a part of our culture for decades. But this new crazy thing called YouTube that all the kids seem to be watching, now that's just a place for half-wits and social outcasts. And while YouTube is a place for half-wits and social outcasts,
that moment when you magically turn into a delicious berry and you just want to eat yourself.
that doesn't mean the absolute majority of people who watch and enjoy creating content are all awful people who prank each other, film vlogs in front of corpses, and carelessly say the N-word in front of thousands of people. To someone who is an avid YouTube viewer, much of this may seem obvious to you. However, just think for a moment about all the people who don't use YouTube, or only use it on the surface level to watch corgi videos. Wow, that's adorable. AKA old people. And old people control everything, so are pretty much at their whim, until they end up in the sod and pass on their jobs to their probably sociopathic and avaricious sons and daughters to continue on their legacy. So we're trapped in an endless cycle of twat after twat. Okay, so obviously it's not just old people. If I had to guess, I'd assume the general public probably doesn't understand all the ins and outs of what makes YouTube YouTube. So what does that lead to? Assumptions, and everyone knows what assuming does. It makes a pooping butt out of you and I. That's how the saying goes, right? If all you ever learn about from the news is that people on YouTube are stupid, dumb assholes, then how do you expect anyone to think that the people on YouTube aren't a bunch of stupid, dumb assholes? And yes, plenty of people on YouTube are stupid, dumb assholes. But that does not equate to YouTube creating stupid, dumb assholes. That's more to do with people creating stupid, dumb assholes. Everywhere you go, you'll inevitably bump into someone who's a bit of a diddly shit, but you wouldn't judge them entirely based on their hobby or occupation. Like, say they're a lawyer. Okay, say they're an MP. Say they're a banker. I'm really not good at coming up with examples to help my argument, am I? Kite Man, give me a profession that people actually respect.
Childcare worker!
I don't know why you felt it was necessary to scream that at me, but thank you. Now go away for another 2 years. Yes, say they're a child care worker. That's a great example I just thought of all by myself. You're not going to point at a child care worker and say, oh yeah, of course. Well, what do you expect? they're a child care worker. I know from experience that when you've worked in retail or the service industry for any amount of time, you'll quickly learn that all forms of work deserve a fundamental level of respect. It's called work for a reason. I remember once when I worked in one of these retailers, this guy was having a problem with one of those self-checkout machines. He got frustrated and I helped him out, to which he rudely responded with, "Well, how was I supposed to know that? I'm in the army," as a complete non sequitur that had absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand. As if that because he was in the army, his ineptitude with the machine was my fault, but I didn't leave that experience with a negative viewpoint on the entire military. I left the experience with a negative viewpoint on that one guy, totally removed from his profession. Our entire lives we're taught not to judge groups and categories of people based off the actions of a small minority. The Westboro Baptist Church doesn't represent the majority of Christians. Responsible gun owners aren't represented by those who use them to commit terrible atrocities. Every teacher in the world isn't thrown under the bus simply because the odd one of them has used their power to abuse children. I thought it would be interesting to go into the archives of 3 or 4 different newspaper websites and see what results came up when YouTube or YouTuber was searched. I made 3 different categories so I could make a tally. These categories were negative stories, positive stories, and clickbait/nonsense stories. They shared their lives on YouTube, then an obsessed fan came calling with a gun. Daredevil YouTuber slammed on social media after riding on the outside of a moving train. Hotel owner hits out at YouTube vloggers who flooded his business with bad reviews after he refused to grant free stays. Russian YouTuber convicted for playing Pokemon Go in church. Logan Paul promised a new chapter after vlogging a dead body, then the YouTuber tasered a dead rat. Spanish police arrest YouTuber accused of making videos showing how to get weapons through airport security. That doesn't look very good, does it? The extreme lengths YouTubers go to for viral fame. A man cemented his head in a microwave for a YouTube prank. What? Wow. Your kids want to make Minecraft YouTube videos, but should you let them? Who cares? Big advertisers suspend YouTube campaigns after reports of videos sexualizing children. Please make it stop. From mixing Skittles with M&Ms to slicing a tomato with a blunt knife, YouTuber makes the world's most unsatisfying video. Zoella and the YouTuber books you need to buy. Why vloggers are a waste of time and money for brands. Zoella isn't the perfect role model girls think she is. Wait, hang on a minute. I just went back a page and there's another story on the same website that says Zoella is a great role model. What? YouTube apocalypse. Old media still struggle to understand web superstars such as Zoella. What's just constantly Zoella? A surfer learned to punch a shark on YouTube. It may have saved his life. YouTuber drinks a bottle of glue. Man arrested after teaching girlfriend's dog to perform Hitler salute as a prank. Jack Maynard's I'm a Celebrity exit proves Britain's idiot YouTube stars are not ready for prime time. Idiot YouTube stars. Mexican YouTuber is executed in her restaurant. Why are people writing articles about shoe nice? Watch makeup artist Patrick Starr apply lip liner. No thank you. I eventually gave up tallying because a pattern was formed very quickly. The majority of the time YouTube is brought up is for clickbait or total nonsense stories that you learn nothing from and are completely pointless beyond being silly entertainment. Whenever anything serious was mentioned, it was always with a negative outlook, highlighting how bad YouTubers are, with some outlets even reaching as far as they could into the rabbit hole purely to find examples of YouTubers being provocative. This includes talking about channels that are usually well under 100,000 subscribers, sometimes even significantly lower, more to the tune of about 10,000, who are pretty much unknown to the greater community and have been culled with the sole intention of making the whole of YouTube look bad. The reason they do this is because they fear YouTube, but also want to have their cake and eat it too. They'll happily adopt structural formats, reference and link to YouTube constantly because it's always being discussed and people are interested in it, and make their headlines mimic that of YouTube videos to fall more in line with how people prefer to consume their content. But then at the same time, time, they would jump at the first opportunity to carefully and systematically comb through any YouTube news that can make the website look substandard and unprofessional. Please like a brutal new mockumentary satirizing YouTube stars. What is it? A brutal and much needed 15-minute takedown of vloggers. Ironically, they have become the very thing they hate and fear. In many ways, they are far less respectable, toxic, and damaging over the countless harmless and thoughtful YouTube channels who are responsibly using the platform and minding their own business. And a lot of us also do what we do without spreading fear-mongering baloney that makes us all assume the world is in a worse state than perhaps it actually is. Oh gee, thanks for letting me know that celery causes cancer. Brilliant. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that putting my socks on causes cancer. I guess I won't put my socks on anymore. What these outlets do is the equivalent of loading up Netflix, cherry-picking and finding the worst films possible, adding them to your queue, and then presenting that information as if that's all that Netflix has to offer. Much like any entertainment industry, there is a hell of a lot of overall content, meaning that there are always going to be bad apples to show off and highlight. And the brilliant thing about taste and the amount of choice we have is that we can pretty much stick to whatever we like. You know, I really am fine with the news lambasting prolific YouTubers for their moronic mistakes, as long as they're well researched and present forward all the facts, because in the long run it does prove the point that YouTube is creating stars that rival that of other entertainment mediums. But at the same time, I don't think people should use that as an excuse to judge all of YouTube simply because it's new and they don't fully understand all the ins and outs of it. There is something like 300 hours of content being uploaded to YouTube every minute. And if you have to dive in that deep just to find the most irrelevant bad examples, then that kind of just says it all. Stupid people isn't a YouTube problem. Stupid people is a planet Earth problem. And if this relatable minion dual-wielding pistols has taught me anything, it's that I need to be alive, laugh at people, and love people. Or just murder them whenever anything gets remotely difficult. I'll see you in the news. Listen up, you MFs. I've started a podcast with Adam from Your Movie Sucks and Ralph the Movie Maker called the Sardonicast. It's bi-weekly and we talk about movies and stuff that you might like. I'll plop a link on the screen if you're interested in a second. I'll just wait 1 second because the end bit has the links and whatnot. I'll do that now.